One. Hey y'all.
Hello.
Hello.
It is a Sunday. We are shifting.
Yes.
We are shifting to Sunday shift.
How was y'all week?
A lot.
Okay. I followed your bike journey.
Yes, on Friday. That was beautiful.
Been enjoying your bike posts, yes.
Thank you. I also was able, my boss, Councilmember Carol Fife, did a tribute to Paul Mooney when he passed away last year. We passed a resolution honoring him. And we had a comedy show on Thursday night with some local artists. So that was fun to be able to do. And I got to go to a firefighters party, after party, because they're having a convention at the Marriott, state firefighters, and they had a barbecue, and I got to go to that. So I got to
Station 19.
Firefighters are my favorite people, but I have to admit it was a little intimidated because, you know, they're all close knit and they wanted to congregate with each other, and they were just didn't know why this girl who wasn't in a firefighter uniform just chilling, eating their barbecue. So, but I got free barbecue, so that's the important part.
It is. Well, you made me feel like I've done nothing. I didn't even tuck my hair down. Like, these braids need to go, but I've been having carpal tunnel. So like, I'm just like, I gotta wait. So these braids needed to go like weeks ago, and here we are.
You guys
So
had
epic
spaces yesterday, I heard.
We did.
That's fun.
Talked about misogyny and soaps. There's so much more to say. And it was a 2
I was
hour
about
space.
to say, I mean, like, how long was that spaces?
Not long enough to do all that. Yeah,
Right.
definitely gonna be a series.
My very favorite part was Sandra. Please tell Tanya about what you did.
Well, you know, I talked about a couple of things, but what I really considered my primary role was to let everyone know that we were going to be prioritizing the voices of women and femmes, and therefore men and masculine folks, please do not request to be speakers. I said it several times because I know that that can be really hard for men to hear and process and take in. I said it 3 different ways the first time. I said it a couple times before we even started inviting speakers on, and yet there was still a man who requested to be a speaker and then who left when I made the final announcement.
Oh no.
Even though I used my flight attendant voice and it was very pleasant and soothing. But you know, there's only so much you can do.
Oh, darn.
And I was like, those acting classes really work for Sandra, because I knew you were a flight attendant when you did that voice. And I was sitting right here. It was so good. My notes. 10 out of 10.
Where's my daytime Emmy? I'm waiting.
I'll nominate you.
Thank
you. You have a reel. We can submit?
Listen, your nomination means way more to me than the actual Academy.
Yeah, like, you know what? It's like, you know, it's an honor just to be nominated.
It is. An honor just to be nominated. It's an honor just to be Asian, as Sandra O says. The other Sandra.
Why do that? Let me just say, I've been on a hunt trying to get that shirt for Sandra every birthday that I've known you, and it's never been available. Like, can I get this shirt? Like, are they hidden?
You gotta order it in February or May.
So there's shirts that say it's an honor to be Asian. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I'm on the hunt. DM Tracy directly if you see the shirts. Hey, find them.
And then
weird request. DM me directly if you find it honor to be Asian shirts.
And then you should wear it, Sandra. And then Tracy, do you have the, you know, I'm rooting for everyone black shirt? So
I do have a Black Girls Are Magic dress shirt.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm rooting for everybody black. You can wear Black Girls Magic, and you can wear your honor to be Asian. We'll do that. Especially for those that seem overly concerned that we talk about, you know, Asians and Black people too much on the show. I think we should, honor that because, they're fans and we need to encourage fandom.
Mm. And what else is there to say before we get into this recap? Tanya, what a segue. Mm. That's called alignment for Gemini season. They're not ready.
They're not.
They're definitely not.
Because I woke up on Gemini season feeling extra chaotic. I was like, why am I so chaotic? Oh, yep. Shout out to Geminis. All right, let's get into the week. You ready?
Ready
as I'll ever be.
I feel so much pressure because there's so many people who are like, the show's bad. I'm only listening to y'all. And I'm like, well, let me do an actual recap then. All right, here we are. Stella and Mr. Curtis that she and his mother knew that Hat Daddy was alive when he left their family. When Curtis asked for the full story, Stella said it wasn't hers to tell, and Curtis decides to join TJ to find Marshall. TJ and Molly followed a clue about a clarinet to Brooklyn in their search for Marshall. After he finds out that they were looking for him, he finds TJ and Molly at a bar where he has a heart-to-heart with TJ about family. TJ and Hat Granddaddy, head to the jazz club to hear some live music, as you know we love, and they get robbed in the alley. When TJ refuses to hand over the clarinet, they end up in a knife fight where Curtis comes to save the day and Marshall ends up in the hospital. Esme tries to get closer to Spencer while he continues to pull away. She sets up a romantic, that's in quotes for our listeners and not viewers, romantic day for him, and he heads to Kelly's for a shift. He runs into Portia, who does not hold back on how he has ruined Trina's life. Trina and Ava are inside Kelly's discussing the Title IX investigation that Trina is facing that could put her out of school, and they hear Portia reading Spencer through the walls. Portia and Trina decide to go somewhere else for lunch while Ava warns Spencer to stay away from Trina. Sam comes to Kelly's to see Spencer, and finally, he tells a real adult everything he knows. Sam tells him that they are not partners and he should be careful and watch his back since he's alienated everyone around him he calls a friend to prove Trina's innocence. Esme is using her tears on Marcellus when Ava walks in and runs up on her. He says Esme has got to go. After talking to Marcellus, Ava tells Spencer she will give him $10K a week of his trust fund if he and Esme move out of Windermere. The Qs, Carson and Sante are at Leo's performance. Apparently that's a sweeps event. Tension is high because Ned versus Michael and Drew because he feels he is being pushed out of ELQ. Ned meets with Valentine, who tries to secure his support against the ELQ and Aurora merger, saying that it wouldn't be good for either of them. And that's me falling asleep on that boring ass story. At Leo's birthday party, Chase and Ned perform one of BLQ's songs. We think we're going to get some Chalene romance, but what we actually get is a reminder of her creepy abuser producer coming back to tell her that he owns her music. Not loving the afternoon. Gladys, Brando, and Sasha meet for dinner, and the creepy photographer is in the same restaurant. Gladys intercepts him, clears the memory card and the hard drive, we see you, Gladys, of the bad Sasha photos, and finds out that Sasha is on pills. Brando gets a call away to help Sonny with his car. Sonny tells Brando that he doesn't think his relationship with Michael can be salvaged because Dante warned Sonny that Michael is moving against him, whatever that means. After convincing Gladys not to tell Brando about her relapse, Sasha and Gladys show up to the garage and announce that Gladys is moving in with Brasha. Oh, Gladys. Stella, Portia, and Epiphany go out for a night on the town to give Epiphany a break from studying for the MCATs. They head to Savoy because, as Portia says, the drinks are free for them there. Taggart and Jordan show up to the Savoy and they discuss Trina with Portia. It was not happy at first, But Taggart calms down and leaves Jordan and Portia alone to talk. Let me just intersect and say both Jordan and Portia are too fine for this show, for any show. They're like angels. It was crazy. I was like, what is going on my screen? Back into the recap. Taggart leaves him alone, and we see Jordan flash back to the time that they were trapped together. And Portia says she needs to tell TRINA the truth about her father. When she asks Portia about it, Portia bobs and weaves to ignore the question. Bobby sees Carly at GH waiting on DNA test results. Carly will not tell her what to test her for, but they head to the Savoy together as well. They run into Sunny and Nina, and Bobby is not happy. Sunny overhears Bobby asking Carly about her test results and comes to the table to be nosy and inquire as to what she's getting tested for. Bobby leaves them alone and confronts Nina. She goes full Barbara Jean Spencer. Words are exchanged, which I'll get into later, and Bobby throws a drink in Nina's face. Shout out to the background actors. I encourage everyone to go back and watch that scene because the background actors and their faces put in so much work. And so it was already great to see Bobby throw this drink. But those background actors, I have just no notes. The only note I have is do more. It was so good.
They were amazing.
They were amazing. Like if you go back, please like tweet at us and let us know that you went back to watch the background actors' faces because they were amazing. Finally, Violet cracks the Liz case wide open. After Finn, Laura, and Kevin, sadly, all condescend to Liz about Chelsea the medium, she kicks Finn out of Laura's house. I love it when people kick someone else out of somebody else's house. It's my favorite thing. He joins Violet and Gregory at Kelly's and tells Gregory about what's going on. As we know, Finn likes telling business. Violet notes that Aunt Elizabeth is present for all of the strange occurrences. Cam comes home and sees Liz cutting up a family picture that Violet drew. Let's note, she cut the picture, she cut out Finn's head. Seemingly in a trance. Finn comes to the house and tells them he thinks Elizabeth did all of the stalking because of sleeping pills. And that is our week. What were y'all favorite moments?
Oh, it was a week. My favorite moment. Ooh, this was actually a little hard because even though I did not really like this week, the first couple episodes especially had a lot of really great moments. But I'm gonna stick with Samantha McCall and her cousin Spencer Cassadine joining forces. Loved it. I mean, obviously we've all just been dying for Spencer to confide in someone who isn't Cameron, like an adult that has the resources and expertise to actually investigate this. And then it was just like a double bonus for it to be Sam. I mean, I knew it was a possibility because I knew they were going to be in scenes together, but I could have just given up both hope that like Spencer would come to his senses, to be honest, and also I mean, I think I was just so excited for them to finally be in a scene together that I didn't put that many expectations of her being brought in this way. And so I was just absolutely delighted. They're two of my favorite Cassadines. Actually getting to see Sam talk about being a Cassadine and be acknowledged as such. And that very sweet moment where she reflected back to him, like, you could be a good one too. Like, it was good to see him get support from the Cassadine side of the family from someone who wasn't trying to get him to like become a maniacal evil genius. So I just really hope for more from them, and I hope that we get a follow-up soon about the Esme investigation And I also really want, now I'm going to put out into the universe, like a Sam Esme confrontation that would just, it would bring me a lot of joy personally. And I love it that it's all happening during Kelly Monaco, like Sam birthday week. You know, sometimes the stars just align when your fave is as beautiful and talented and gracious as Kelly Monaco.
That's correct. What about you, Tanya? What was your favorite moment?
Ooh, I had a lot of favorite moments, but since you're asking to pick one, I want to give a shout out to the cutie patooties known as Jophiel Love and Easton Rocket Sweeta. I thought these little tykes had some really great scenes on this week, with Leo giving his speech and getting Chase to sing for him and just being, awesome. And then, Violet cracking the case. But also I was tickled by one. She straight up ordered herself a chocolate sundae.
Miss Waitress.
Right. Hello, I would like a chocolate sundae with all sorts of chocolate. And then she had the gall at the end of her scenes with her grandpa. Hey, are you going to finish that brownie? I was like, little girl, you already got a lot of sugar in you already. But I loved it. She was so adorable. And she's like, maybe if we invite Auntie Elizabeth to a tea party, then she'll feel better, because tea parties always make me feel better. I mean, she is focused on these tea parties. And I just love it. I love them together. And so I just wanted to give them a shout out because they are adorable. But yeah, respect. I liked, there's a lot that I like, which we'll probably go on further, but I just wanted to point them out.
Yeah. I mean, her with all that chocolate is probably why she could be at Kelly's at a time where people were surprised that Elizabeth was out in public. Because everyone's like, Elizabeth should be home. How is she? Right. Like, well, Riley's at Kelly's, so clearly it ain't that late.
Right?
Like, having a late night dessert down.
A late night dessert at that. She's gonna be up all night.
All night. Okay.
Mysteries.
So I have two favorite moments. Well, a set, but so I know you already talked about Sam and Spencer, but obviously Sam is like my fave, so cannot let that pass without talking about that. And for me, it actually was like a reminder. So because it's Sam week and we're going down memory lane, it's like a reminder of all these stories that Sam has carried in the past. And also like the stakes that in the fallout from like good stories. So like Sam becoming a Cassadine was not a foregone conclusion when she was first introduced, but look at the richness that it is opened with that reveal. Cough, cough, it will not be rich like that when it's revealed about Nina and Willow. Right, like that, because that's like the purpose of like these kind of reveals, to get people like more ingrained in families that we care about. And that's what happened with Sam. And it just reminded me of the fact that we don't invest in relationships the way we used to. Like Sam used to be really close to Michael. I know we all hate Michael, but like that relationship was really special to me.
Right.
She was the person who helped him process the grief over Jonah. She was the person that he talked to after he got out of prison, and they like bonded over Franco and like talked about like that trauma together. And even going back to before Chad is Michael, she was like there for him when he was a like super bratty little kid. And so like seeing her with Spencer was a reminder that Sam also actually had like a very special relationship with like little Spencer. And so I really do hope that this is like the start of like actually investing in that relationship and not like a one-off story for them, because it was really special. You could tell they really enjoyed being in the scene together. Nicholas was like very cute, like the kind of almost smile when Sam said that Spencer could be a good one. The reminder and the tripling down, like, no, girl, you're a Cassadine too. Because the thing about Sam is if you don't fuck with Alexis, Sam don't fuck with you. So as soon as Julian messed up with Alexis, she was like, I don't even know this man. Like, who are you? Smoke every time. And she's never messed with the Cassadines, and so the reminder that that's her family was like super important to me, because Cassadines are one of my favorite families. And Spencer needs that love from family, like as Sandra said. And then I just loved everything that happened around Black people not propping up Nina. So we have used like Curtis and and
Phyllis.
specifically to prop Nina, to like absolve her, to say she's a good person, to tell everybody around town that she's a good person, to intercede when people are reading her as they should. And so when Epiphany, Portia, and Stella walked in and gave her a little side eye, I lived. They were like, Epiphany was like, okay, well, like it was exactly the response. It was the response that people that needed months ago. And then I think if the character would have gotten that response, she would be in a better place. But I really appreciated that like they were not gonna prop her. It was so weird for something to be like, oh well, y'all know Nina. Why wouldn't Curtis's girlfriend and auntie know one of Curtis's best friends? What's wrong with you? So just them having that kind of smoke for her that was like very understated but very Black lady shady. Like when Portia was like, "Oh, hello," I loved it. That was my favorite. Those were my favorite moments.
And they read the article, so they were like, yeah.
And they're all in relationship with Carly too. Like I think that's like the piece that like is when people break up and their breakup was not good. Like Sunny, everybody know you cheated.
Yes.
And it was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fallout is not going to be that everybody is on your side. Everybody's not like, well, Carly wanted to divorce. Like, not everybody cares about that. Like, so.
Divorce.
Not the divorce. Oh.
Like, it's just like it's like a very real moment that I hope that we get more of in general. Not just about Nina, but like, I really just think we need more of like the town reacting to things that are wild. And we just do not have that. And so to have that reaction was like really important. And I just love the fact that these 3 Black women went out and had a night out of the town and like looked great. Epiphany looked great. Portia looked great. Like I said, Jordan came in. I was like, why is Jordan this fine? Like, what's going on here? So I loved it. Tanya, who is your performer, or who are your performers of the week?
So speaking of Black families, we got a lot of focus on the Black family this week. And so I want to give a shout out to a couple of them. First, Taj Bello.
So
Patootie. And he had a lot to do this week. He had to hunt down his side-eye granddad. He had to fight off some dudes. And then he had to, really check his uncle and be like, and he was like really emotional about all of it. And even with his, silly little girlfriend or partner, sorry, I don't like her right now. So I mean, working it out, and I just thought he had a lot of airtime and he used it well. So I just want to give him a shout out. Taj, you're doing great. I don't necessarily agree with you wanting to seek out Hat Daddy, but I like the fact that you're doing it, and you justify it well. So you're really getting into this character and growing into it, and I hope we get to see more of you. My second person, Renee Watson Johnson. Okay, first of all, when she had to admit to Curtis that she knew that his dad was alive and she cried and sobbed, I was like, oh, you're doing so great. I hate that you have to cry over this stupid storyline, but man, you're doing awesome. You're doing amazing. And I also want to shout out to her and her other role, and Bob Hart's Abishola. She's been also doing really well on that show as well. As a friend of one of the nurses, and having to deal with continuing to work because inflation, and her husband spent her retirement. I mean, she's doing some really good work on that show. So I just want to give you your flowers. You're doing great, Bernie. Thank you so much.
She is Black excellence. I love her so
Yes.
much.
Yes. And finally, again, we have to give props to Sophia Matson, who admitted to Gladys that she, got back onto drugs. And again, just the emotional roller coaster of trying to keep the secret and then admitting the secret and then wanting the secrets to still be kept with Gladys to the point where she was allowing Gladys to move in. Great job as always. She's handling her storyline very well, and continued props. So to these three individuals who don't necessarily get all the flowers that they should get, I'm recognizing you this week. So thank you so much for being a part. And then another shout out to Jackie Zeman, because I didn't talk about it, but that was my favorite week. Her going off on Nina. Thank you. I just needed that.
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those moments where you really got to thank the vets for their service.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unpolished. I mean, especially when she was glaring across the room. I was like, oh. And she was not shy about it. She was like, every time.
Loved it.
I appreciate I loved everybody you shouted out was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically around like Jackie and bringing back vets. Something that Sandra was saying that I think is so important is like, we got to remember these people were messy. And like, when we talk about bringing back vets, we're talking about bringing back not just like their presence, we're talking about bringing back their history. We're talking about bringing back every part of their character. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want our vets to just like sit around and have coffee, which I love that. I love them reminiscing. I love like those moments. I loved Anna and Robert like fighting over the remote. Like, I love those moments. And hell yeah, let Bobby like throw a drink in somebody's face. It was completely in character. What Nina said to her was out of fucking pocket. Mm-hmm. And that came up in the misogyny space. Like, and Bobby has always been a mess, and I loved it. Yes. I've always loved it. And like, for audience members, it's so interesting because like, especially people who have like not watched for a long time and are like Nina fans, which it's your right. Like, I believe that you like who you like based on when you come into the story. I was actually having this conversation with Britt, who listens, and she was saying that like, she's never really been able to fuck with Carly because of like Robin and like the stuff that Carly said to Robin about HIV. And I was like, oh yeah, I wasn't watching yet. And I'm sure that I might have that same smoke if like I liked Robin, if like I had been watching it like that live at the time. So like, you do like people based on when you come into like watching the story. But I do think there's also something about not acknowledging like the Nina's past or any of the things that Nina's done wrong, but trying to like bring to me a book of what Bobby's done. You are not watching, you do not know Barbara Jean the way I know Barbara Jean. Calm down.
I really don't want anyone saying shit to Bobby like off or on screen. If like if you were brawling with Bobby back in the day, I just don't want to hear it. Like, if Monica had brought shit up, I mean, of course I would still be like, oh, problematic analysis, blah blah blah, but I would be like, it's Bobby and Monica, what are you gonna do? Right? Like, there's something about having a character who really has been on the canvas less than a decade come at Bobby, a character who, by the way, has never had to work a day in their life. Talk about Bobby, about whatever job Bobby had. And yes, being a sex worker is a job. Mm-hmm. So like, the only reason Nina, and I think I talked about this in the space, I actually don't remember. Nina's only has had this job because Julian wanted her to tank Crimson. So like, she only got this job because of her perceived incompetence. And thankfully for everyone involved, Crimson has thrived. And like, I don't want to take anything away from Nina around that, but like, let's be clear, honey. you've never, like, you don't have to work, so I don't want to hear any commentary from you about what Barbara Jean was up to in the 70s.
And fuck Scott. My God.
Right.
How dare you? Like, let's also, because I don't ever want to like let these men skate.
No.
Scott, you should be worried about getting Trina free, not gossiping about what the fuck Bobby was doing back in the day. Let it go. Let it go.
Well, you know I don't fuck with Scott, so
I do know how you feel about Scott. It was just like, and it was also one of those things. I was like, oh, so you saying this shit to Bobby? But if Phyllis would have walked in, you'd have been crying. You said shit to Bobby, but you didn't tell. You never said to Carly that she's she's twisted like her prostitute mom. You would have never said that shit to Carly's face. And then she like kind of charged at Bobby. What was you gonna do? You just want to fight Bobby?
I wish they had let her. That would have been hilarious.
I would have loved it.
Oh.
Specifically because we were posting all of those, like one of the prompts for like the Sam days, like favorite Sam fights. And I was like cracking up at the brawl that Sam had with the Carly that nobody really talks about. But like they had like a really big fight in like the pool hall. They were like on the floor. Sam like picked up a bottle, like broke it. I was like, what was you about to do, Sam? Stab her? Like, what was you doing? Like, I was like, damn, that could have been a Savoy. Let these white people act a fool in this black establishment.
Classic.
That's why the black background actors were like, you see how these white people be acting out here?
There was this one background actor who like he didn't even really move his head, but his eyes, he was like, I give him a daytime Emmy for that alone, just for his eye movement. I was like, this
we should, I don't know how we could do it, but we should be a background actor one day on the show.
I would love it.
We would totally, it would be hilarious.
I think that we should be frontground actors. I'm ready to take the role of Nicholas Cassadine.
Conte for real.
Hello.
The role of Nicholas Cassadine will now be played by Sandra Crystal.
I'm ready.
And it will be better, to be honest.
I'm available. I'm available.
I mean, I am putting in my whatever so that we can be just like people who kick it at the Savoy. Savoy's regulars. Let's do it.
Yeah, I can, let's have some conflict with, Sante. I'm willing to sacrifice, whatever popularity I have, which is very little, just to go in and cause some mess with Sam and Dante.
Susie would love it. But also I do want to say like Taj did like excellent, and I just wanted to like double down on what you said. We don't get a lot from him, even when he was kidnapped, which I think was like one of his first major stories a couple of years ago. Like, it was really about Jordan, and it was about Molly, and it wasn't really centered on his point of view. So I had never really cared about the Hat Daddy story. I was kind of like, oh, this is taking so long, it's dragging out, I don't care about Marshall. But his like determination, like, you will not walk out on me, you are my grandfather. Like, I was just like touched. I was like, okay, all right, Taj, just like, you put me on contract, now let's see what I can do here. And he delivered, and I want to see more of him, less of Molly, more of him on screen, in the front with story. He clearly can handle it, and we need like that young, handsome demographic featured more. No more Milo sex scenes, please, but like, give me Taj. Hopefully
I do have to throw Milo in there. It was so beautiful until you started talking about them.
In his defense of the clarinet, he was concerned. The clarinet is a really important character in this story. And, he uplifts that. He was like, don't steal the clarinet. Oh my God, we left the clarinet. Oh, clarinet is important. And I appreciate that. As a former clarinet player, I really appreciate that.
Okay. Would you have challenged someone in a knife fight for your clarinet in the alley?
Yeah, totally.
Sandra was asking how much of West Side Story can we sing before we get flagged for copyright, and I was like, just that.
Stay cool, boy. I got a rocket in my pocket. Which is definitely the most homoerotic line in West Side Story. There are more, but it's the most homoerotic one. I'm just saying.
People don't understand clarinets play an important role in a lot of musical selections, but saxophones always get the love, saxophones and flutes. When clarinet has a range of high and low, it can do it all. Clarinets are like the prince of classical music. People just don't feel it.
Mm.
I can go off. Me and Hat Daddy could have a conversation, and I wouldn't even have to scat to, beat him. I can just tell him about it.
Did you say that clarinets are the purple rain of the music accompaniment?
I say that the prince of classical music.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Put this on your reel, Tanya, to submit.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Submit to Emmys. Thanks.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's working. I had a hard time finding that. But Sandra, what's working on the show this week?
I thought something that really worked for me was Vanna and Annalisa, though it was fleeting, and that part did not work for me. I wanted so much more. I mean, they could be on the whole episode and it would still leave me wanting more. So if that's what you were trying to do, GH, don't worry. I'm always going to want more. Just pack them in the episode, please. But I love Annalisa always. Put them in any scenario. But I love this kind of like, oh, we're having drinks at the outdoor venue. They both looked amazing. My God. It was distracting, actually. Like the Fenola's dress, beautiful at every angle. Couldn't really catch it on screen, but the pattern, I don't even want to know how much it cost. It looked expensive though. I love them gossiping about Valentine. Valentine, of course, showing up as he does. Speak of the devil. The devil is Valentine, and we love him. And Vanna just makes me smile, even when I don't want them to. Like, their little exchanges were so brief and subtle, but really powerful. I love that Anna blew off Valentine.
I love it.
What else do you do with a fuckboy like this? Like, she handled him like a pro. And what I really loved is that he knew that she was handling him like a pro and was like, yeah, this is like how you should be handling me right now.
He loved it.
He loved it. And so did JPS, because I tweeted about it, of course, and I said, this is how you handle a Cassadine fuckboy, and he liked it. And it's because he knew, our chaotic Gemini king knew. Look at that as how you deal with a Cassadine fuckboy. And I love that Felicia just got straight to the point with him, like a bestie would. Like, he sat down, Anna's like, I have to take this, bye. And she immediately was just like, so what you doing? Why are you ghosting my friend? Why are you playing games? And Valentine was like, well, I know it appears that way. And Felicia said, it is that way. So what are we doing here? It was perfect. It is exactly how that kind of exchange should have gone. And I also really loved Valentine's face when Anna started talking about the mustachioed Frenchman. Like, he was like amused at himself for his antics, and also like very proud of Anna for like being so hot on his trail.
Yeah.
And like him being like, well, I can maybe help with that. I was like, you are so mischievous. I can't deal with you. Don't ever stop. Like, there's a way in which like I want to be so mad at Valentine, but the way that scene played, I was just amused. I mean, I'm still mad at him, but in an amused way. And so I loved, it was like such a small, it was like a microdose of Vanna, but it got me through the week. And they're so good at that. Like every movement of even their faces was intentional. And you just, where else are you gonna get like, what was it was a total what, like 3 minutes or something of the
Something like
three of
that.
them. And it was like by far much better than a lot of the other longer scenes involving storylines I won't mention right now because I'm at my happy place.
I also loved Vanna. They always are working, and like you said, I mean, these are just pros who know what we want to see and know how to deliver it. Just nothing else to say about that. I will be short because I have two things that are not working. One of the things that's really working with me.
Classic Tracy.
I'll be short. I really love the Savoy. The Savoy is working for me, and it's working for the show. It is a great place that people are going to, like not a restaurant, like a night out. And I really love places on soaps where there are like a whole bunch of different stories happening at once. And then people can like run from one thing to the other. So like we were able to see like Sunny come sit down. And then when the Nina Bobby thing went down, he was able to like go, whatever. We were able to see Portia come in and Portia Epiphany and Stella come in and like see Sunny and like have that exchange and that be short and then go sit down. And so I really love scenes like that, and the Savoy just looks good. And I know that Donnell, who plays Curtis, said that he had a lot to do with like the lighting and making sure people look good there. And Donnell did a great job because people are looking good when they come into the Savoy.
People are looking too good when they come into the Savoy. Like
It is dissecting. Again, Jordan, I said, what's going on? Are we modeling? Like, what's happening? I don't even know what your story is, girl, but keep doing whatever you're doing. But yeah, so the Savoy is working. What about you, Tanya?
Oh yeah, yes to all of that. Vanna, always. Savoy, great. I want to give a shout out to another actor who's working for me, Bonnie Burrows.
Yes.
As Gladys. I mean, she knows how to navigate that annoying, hateful, bee that's buzzing around, but also supportive mom.
Yep.
Role. It's so great. It's so fascinating. It's funny. It's caring. And the scenes that she had with Sophia Matson this week, I mean, yes, I gave props to Sophia Matson, but I mean, it wouldn't have worked without having Gladys there as being the one. And the funny thing is early on after the accident, I saw some social media conversations where people implied that Gladys was going to blackmail. But I mean, she is kind of a little bit, but she's not doing it in a malicious way. She's doing it in a way that she cares and wants to make sure that things come out okay. So to make sure that Sasha gets the help that she actually needs. So I'm just really having a lot of appreciation for Bonnie Burrows right now and Gladys as a character, and that's really working for me. And I'm glad that they're able to keep her on the screen. I don't know if she's a contract or not, but she needs to be because she's great.
Yeah, she was really great. I love that what you said, like she is kind of blackmailing Sasha in a way because like, she was very salty about getting kicked out of Brando's,
She was.
and so now she finally gets to get back in the middle of their relationship where she wants to be. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, she does actually really care about Sasha.
Yeah.
Like even independent of Brando, like she wants what's best for her, even if she doesn't always know what's best for her. And I like that she's still Gladys. Like she's still like annoying and a busybody and like like that annoying ass bee, like you said.
Yeah.
And we get to see these other sides of her. So I'm glad she's not losing that characterization just because we're supposed to start liking her now. And I think that's like a big testament to Bonnie. And that's when we went to the Finola and Amanda space, Bonnie was the person that Finola says that she would like to work with that she doesn't get to. And they like hang out and knit together.
I like that she knits. I knit. I crochet too, Bonnie.
Well, maybe you could join Bonnie and Finola, so when you make
your debut.
Yes. We can have like a knitting session, and then I can plot to break up Sante. And Gladys would help me because she's that sketchy.
Oh my gosh, you could come on and as this home wrecker, and Gladys can be your bestie.
Right. I would so like, you guys were talking about who you guys would hang out with if you were on the show as a character. I would totally hang out with Gladys.
I would not, but I do appreciate her.
I would love to watch your scenes. Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that what you said about Bonnie is so true, because it would be really easy to lose that character. And I think that what Sophia and Bonnie do really well is like just give it to you when it's there, because they don't get enough screen time. And so it's hard to invest. And we talked about this many, many times. It's really hard to invest in Brasha because they are on. And it's like, for real, they just show up and they're like, okay, so Sophia, we're gonna have you pop some pills and then cry. Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, so Sophia, we're gonna have you hit harmony and then cry. You ready? Okay, hydrate, girl, because we really about to have you crying, and then you're gonna pop some more pills. Okay, you ready? Like, it was just, that's all they have. Okay, your baby's about to die. You ready? Like, it's just like no other they have no other use for her, and that's so unfortunate because she's so good. We have seen her be funny, we have seen her be caring, we've seen her bring the best out of Michael. Like, we have seen so much from her, like so much talent. The fact that she's not featured, I really don't understand it, because she's so talented and so good. So I don't know, if I was writing GH, she'd be there.
So okay, what's not working then, Tracy?
I know you're just dying to get.
Glad you brought it up. No. So I have two things, obviously. One is the ELQ story. I'll start there. So we've been watching Days. You know, I grew up on Days, and they also have like a Demira Enterprise, which is like their big family has a company. And there's always drama around that as well. And I was like, I wonder why this feels different and more interesting than like what's going on with ELQ. And it's because there's no stakes. Like, we never see anybody at work. What is ELQ besides a plot device every once in a while to vote on? Like, we hear more about the shares and more about ELQ is talked about in like the Quartermain living room than we actually see anybody working at ELQ or Aurora. And like, so it's really difficult to like invest in. And they also, one of the things that I think Days does really well is that Stefano Demira, who was like their patriarch, is like, you know, passed on in real life, is dead on the show, even though he was like Teflon on the show. Stefano, I think like was burnt and then fell into some tar or something. He came back like, bitch, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, he just never died. If the actor was still alive, I'd be like, oh yeah, Stefano probably is coming back sometime. And so they still point to him a lot. There's like a big picture of him on the mantle in Demira Mansion. Like, they talk about him, his legacy, carrying on for him a lot. We don't hear that for Edward. You know, like, there is nothing that has me still invested in the Quartermain family. I'm not invested in Michael as a Quartermain. Brooklyn is like not scheming. She's not taking up that like mantle of being the schemer for the Quartermains. Ned kind of doesn't seem like he cares. Olivia doesn't care. Like, what is like happening? it just isn't working for me. So that's ELQ's not working for me in
Ned
that
only,
storyline.
Ned only cares when he's not the CEO. And it's just, that's not compelling because I don't actually believe that he likes being CEO.
Right.
It's also when Ned, I've talked about this before, when Ned as CEO of ELQ is Ned at his worst.
Even like that Valentine was CEO, we never saw Valentine at like any kind of ELQ office. We never, like, he was just chilling. And then it was like, oh, well, the company is doing so good under Valentine. I'm like, well, are they working remotely? Because what's actually happening at ELQ? Like, what's going on there? And so it's just like not good. So that's one thing. And then, you know, surprise, surprise from me. I know you're shocked. Sona's not working. And not only like as a couple, but as like individuals, they're not working, which makes it even worse to see them as a couple, right? So like the character of Sunny has always been like, for whatever reason, the moral center of the show. That they build worlds and like value systems and judgment around like him and what his character is doing. So he could be the mobster, but he's a good mobster because he doesn't do drugs or weapons or whatever it is that they're saying about him. He was the good mobster because he had Stone, and then he had Jason, and then he had all, like, he was like a family man. And so all of the things that like made Sunny good or the good mobster are like no longer there. And it's actually hubris on the behalf of the writers for them to believe that we would care about Sunny absent of these things. So he's not in this relationship with Carly. That's cool. He doesn't, I mean, I wasn't a Carson fan, but I don't have to be a fan of something or like somebody to understand the way that people should be treated. And I think that's like a way that people look at the show that's interesting to me. Like, well, I don't like this person, so if you cuss this person out, I don't care. Sure, but like, what is the character motivation for that? I think that Michael's being really out of pocket right now, but Sonny is his dad. And some of the stuff that gets really weird for me around Michael is people acting like he's not Sonny's real kid, which I don't like. Like, because he's adopted, like he's not Dante, he's not Christina, he's not whatever. I don't like that. And so Sonny was like, well, since Michael is mad at me, now it gives me the opening to like help you at your hearing. So what I'm hearing from you, Sonny, is that you wanted to do that shit anyway. And that's actually not compelling for you as a father, which doesn't do anything well for your character. And we have to continue to build worlds around Sunny. So we hear all these like complaints about who has what scenes and what scenes they're in and how many episode counts there are. But it's also what we have to build for you to be on. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. But it's like what we have to build for you to be on. So we have to build Nixon Falls for you to be on. Now that you don't have Jason and you don't have your family, we have to build out random white dudes named Dex to come in and like find something for you to do. I don't even know all these new characters' names. Whoever comes in as a white dude is just named Dex to me. That's what I call them. Like, we have to build all of these like new people. We have to build this relationship with Brando that wasn't there. We have to build like him and Brando had like 8 minutes in this fucking car scene. So Sandra just talked about how little time we got to see like Annalisa and Vanna. I'm not really clear about anybody who would rather see Brando and Sunny than Annalisa and Vanna. Like, nope. I'd rather see more Spencer and Sam. Okay.
I think I know who wanted the 8-minute Brando and Sunny scene.
Who would that be?
I think it was Maurice Bernard.
I bet it was.
I think he might have been a little bit jealous of the love that Brando got when he threatened, Schmaltz.
Schmaltz, our friend Schmaltz.
He was like, I want that in my orbit, and I would rather see Brando on his own trying to help Sasha than being in Sunny's orbit.
And I certainly don't want Sunny giving Brando any more advice about Sasha.
No. And it's like, there's also here comes Sunny complaining about Michael. People talk about this with Carly all the time, and Sunny never gets to smoke. Brando lost a kid. He's still grieving. He's like all this shit, and he got to listen to what about how you ruined your relationship with your son. Interesting. I don't hear this complaint about Sunny taking up all this space. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's anyway. Even with Dante, when was the last time Sunny asked Dante how he's doing? Dante has been a support for Sunny.
I'm so tired of watching Dante raise his father. Again, Olivia made the right decision in hiding Dante from Sunny, and I will forever stand by that decision.
Yes. I loved when Dom was in Soap Opera Digest, and they were like, what is Dante doing when he's off screen? He's like, he's making sweet, sweet love to Sam. And here's the thing. I'd rather see that on screen than Dom having, or than Dante having to raise Sunny. Let's see some of that sweet, sweet love on screen instead. Let my Sante make their sweet, sweet love instead of having to have Dante raise Sunny. It's absurd. So it's just not working.
There's definitely room for Sam in Dante's shower.
Absolutely. Sweet, sweet love. And so, you know, like that's like one thing that's not working. And one of the things we talked about, and we'll post up in the next week or so the misogyny spaces that we did on Twitter with Jen M, Erica with a K, in Port Missouri, or Tara. But we talked about the fact that this is like one of the first times I went back from '92. Right now is one of the first times that we've had two head male writers, like co-head writers. What am I saying?
Yes.
So they're both men, and a man executive producer. And the storytelling reflects that. Because if for anyone to think that the way you have to make a lot of stretches to still be making excuses for Sunny, when it makes more sense to say this is the character I've liked, and right now he's being written horribly. Because he is, and it's not working. And it's the hubris of men to believe that is working. And then Nina. I'm not even gonna get too much up into Nina because I get on her every week, but it's the crying for me. It's the no stakes in her story for me. Who gives a I mean, it's like, this is not, people keep calling it a custody battle. It's not a custody battle. It's a battle to see if she can see Wiley for a couple hours, supervised every other week. Like, this is like the level of stakes. And how many times does Wiley's dramatic ass have to go through a court battle? I'm tired of that kid. Put him in the attic with all the rest of the Quartermain kids we never see. When was the last time we saw Danny? I'm tired of it. Like how many court cases, how many baby swaps? Wiley's ass came into the world dramatic. I'm tired of it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so this is what Nina's fighting for. And I would not be gaslit into thinking that Nina's not crazy. And it really comes back to, and this is for both Cynthia and Mo, how you see your character and how it like portrays on screen. So there was like in Soap Opera Digest, there was like a little snippet of Cynthia talking about the story. And Mo has also talked about Sunny. And so they've both been like, well, Nina's not a monster. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't think she's a monster. I think she's a mess. And if they were to have portrayed her that way, I think the character would be further along than what she is. But because they're like, they want to show she's not a monster, they have her going back and forth. And that's why we see the crying, but I'm tough. The whispering, but the threatening. And that doesn't work as a character. And so then you put them together and they make the worst of couples. It's just bad. The fact that Sunny would like act like it wasn't a big deal that you just got divorced and you were parading around with a woman that you had an affair with. who kept you with from your family for 6 months. I don't give a shit what you do, but let's not act like that's not something that people gonna stare at you about. And then, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Tracy, you don't understand. It's just like casino, like you just gotta understand the vision.
Oh my God.
I'm really working on my Mo impression.
I hate it. And then here comes Nina at the bar when Mo, or I'm sorry, not Mo, when Sunny rolls up. And I usually love Cynthia's wardrobe. That's the thing. I'm like, I give credit where credit's due. Cynthia be having that leg out. She usually looks amazing. People were talking about that red dress. I was like, this looks like it's from Forever 21. Did she take this from Joss? This was not cute. Like, what's going on? If y'all gonna write like this for Cynthia, let Cynthia wear a dress, because one thing about Cynthia is she gonna wear a dress. And so we got to see Jordan come in looking like that. We saw Portia coming in looking like that. Give Nina a real dress. I see what they were trying to do with that red dress. That it didn't happen. And not saying she didn't look good. She always looks great. That's not the point. But the dress was not cute. Carly also, I don't know what the hell they had Carly wearing either.
Oh God, Carly's dress was very matronly. It was very grande dame, if you will.
Nina was trying to like frame like Nina as the sexy one and Carly as the waspish mom thing. I don't know, because that's not right.
It was not working either way. Both were the wrong choices for different reasons.
Both of these beautiful women should have been allowed to wear something that looked good, and neither of them had on any dresses that looked good. But yeah, when Sunny Rock ran up on the dude and was like, "You got a problem with the lady?" And here comes Nina. Did you see my boyfriend? He's like the mobster. He like threatens people when they write like mean things about me in the burn book. And we're in love. And his ex-wife and her poor mom.
Oh my God.
So anyway, what else is not working for y'all?
Woo! For those of you joining us on audio, Tanya has lost it.
It's Gemini season and my allergies are killing me. So here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, I'm crying. I'm like literally crying right now. When people's like, I'm crying, this is what I am doing.
Sandra, what's not working for you? Or Tanya, whoever.
I think it's Tanya's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need a minute. But okay, so I had a list of stuff that's not working. Soda, definitely. Ned and EOQ, definitely not working. Laura calling Chelsea a whack job. That doesn't seem with it. I'm like, that didn't seem right. And Elizabeth's story. But I want to go into the fact that I just remain unswept right now. And I remain so unswept that I was just like, I have to do a comparison and contrast of the other shows that I watched. And you talked about Days and the difference between how Days treats their, kind of, big main characters. But I kind of just did a comparison and contrast of YNR, Bold and Beautiful, and GH as far as the sweeps month. And some of the things that, with Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful, which I felt were really sweep worthy, and the things that GH did that just wasn't, right? So Young and the Restless had, gay wedding, a popular character died, A dastardly deception was revealed. A notorious character is back on the scene. 2 other beloved characters came back. And love scenes with 3 couples. 3 different couples, right?
I would like to see it.
Bold and the Beautiful, a beloved character died, which could lead to couple shuffling, major couple shuffling. Notorious plot was revealed. Loss of memory returned. An affair that was revealed, which could lead to more drama and more couple shuffling. 3 love scenes with 1 couple, but still 3 different love scenes. What do we get on GH? We got a drug addiction that we knew about finally revealed to one person. Meh, a little bit, but still love the characters. A beloved character died. A dastardly plot revealed and 1 mystery solved. 1 love scene and 2 dances we really didn't want to see. I mean, if you compare contrast, some of these different things are okay, but they're about things we don't care about. And that's why it didn't work. Whereas in Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful, you may not even agree with the direction the story went. It still was spectacular and kept you watching, you know? And so
And I saw on Twitter, Finn from Bold and the Beautiful didn't die. Did you see this?
Okay, don't tell me. But
Look at Tracy spoiling shows so she doesn't even watch.
And somebody teleported. This time.
too mad at that because they've been like trying to make it so, but still. But yeah, don't tell me anymore. But yeah, just all of these, it was just more, it felt more sweeps worthy on these other shows than it did on GH. And you guys say, I mean, I agree. We have some really great, phenomenal actors, and some of them are not necessarily the quote unquote main actors. And I'm glad that, you know, other actors are able to shine and get some really great scenes, but they're on scenes of stories we don't care about. I love Vernee Watson. I hate that she's crying over a stupid story. You know, we love Sophia Matson. We know she has rage. We know she has skills, but she's being, you know, put into this story and, you know, bits and pieces to the point where we don't care that she's a drug addict. You know, Hat Daddy could be like the best person in the world as an actor, but I can't stand his story and I don't like his character. So writers and producers, y'all need to do better, because these actors deserve better and the audience deserve better. We are super loyal, but don't take us for granted. I'm just saying.
My daddy is a great meme.
He's, you know.
You didn't count though in your sweeps breakdown the fight scene. Did the other shows have a West Side Story inspired fight scene?
No,
I don't think they did.
No, they did not. And
I rest my case.
The fact that I did not count that should say something. Sorry. But, you know, I appreciate you reminding me of it because
you weren't swept by the Milo sex.
No.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this the sex scene we're getting? At least amongst us three, we've been saying Sante, 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 Sante. How many times we gotta say Sante over and over and over again?
What you mean? Let them bang.
Lynn, Vanna.
Literally anyone.
Not anyone. I take that back. Not anyone.
Not anyone. No, because we know what's coming.
We said that before, and then we got Milo.
Right.
I want it to happen. I just don't want to see it. I'm gonna fast forward it. Sorry, Laura Ray.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about what I think is not working. Obviously, everything y'all have said. I'm gonna zero in on Liz's story.
Please.
I'm very confused. Do the writers think that the yellow wallpaper was a romance? Because that's the vibe I'm getting from this story. The yellow wallpaper is an American short story. It's very famous for those who have not read it. And it is basically about gaslighting. And it's very much of that kind of like late American Victorian genre of like kind of supernatural, but like, is it supernatural or is it that women are hysterical? And it's not supposed to be romantic, y'all. This is not romantic. The fact that what makes Liz crazy is that she doesn't want to be with Finn is not romantic. Like that this is like the biggest piece of evidence that they have. Like we know, like when Finn was yelling at her because she doesn't love him, essentially. And like that was his big piece of evidence as to why there was something wrong with her. No. That Violet had to be the one to be like, well, Auntie Elizabeth is the one who's always around when these things happen. That was very strange. It was also just very anticlimactic. Like this reveal, first of all, should have happened for the audience itself months ago. And like there should have been a gap in time where the audience knew what was happening, but nobody else did. But instead, we're finding out basically the same time as everyone else that Liz has been dissociating. There's like no dramatic tension there. And on top of that, what was actually like the reveal, and I will say like the performances were great around the reveal. Like Becky did great. I really actually want to shout out William Lipton. He was really good in those scenes. He was like, to me, the emotional anchor of the scenes, which was even more confusing why they kept focusing on Finn's reaction. Because it's like, first of all, I want to be focused on Becky here. This is supposed to be her story. But if we can't focus on Becky, why are we not focusing more on Cameron? As like, because that's actually like what do we know about Liz? She cares about her kids. Like her kids are the most important thing to her. So for it to be so focused on Finn, who she doesn't even really like, obviously, was so strange and so disorienting. But yeah, like the reveal still just felt really anticlimactic. It's like, oh, we just like see her cutting up Violet's picture and cutting out Finn's head, which I did like that part. I am kombucha girl right now. Yeah, I liked that part. But it just felt like, oh, this was the sweeps reveal? This should have happened months ago. It should have happened in a different way. It should have centered Becky and her range. It should have centered Elizabeth's point of view. It should have centered her kids' point of view instead of having them be like the suspect. Yeah, just everything about it. This is, please don't stop trying to gothic romance us through this. This is not, unless you're going to reveal that Finn is a vampire. He's a vampire.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed because why is she disassociating over Finn? It totally takes power away from Elizabeth as a character. It's to say that she has to disassociate in order to break up with a guy that she doesn't like.
Deal.
Like, really? Elizabeth has so many reasons to disassociate. We
Right.
don't know what's going on with her parents, but that could have been a reason.
Right.
Franco died. That's a reason. All kinds of stuff that's happened to her in her life be perfectly reasonable why she would have DID. I mean, I think that's why we came up with the DID idea in the first place, because she's just had so much going on that she hasn't really had a great time to really properly deal with it. And but to have it be about Finn and then have him be the one to reveal it.
Yeah. You know, the fun of DID storylines, despite like the trauma and like the emotional like things that happen when everybody else finds out, the fun of it is when the audience knows and nobody else knows. So I wanted to see Biz Weber down in Beecher's Corner twerking on like some random dude. I wanted to see her like having fun and like Sandra said, like showcasing. I mean, like she has been Elizabeth for so long, 25 years, right? This would have given her a chance to like break out of that and like show another side of like her personality. It could have been collaborative with Becky. It could have been all of these things about like what would you want to see for Liz? Like what would you want to see for like somebody who's like wild or who wasn't Liz? And we're gonna write that into like your character because we know other actors get to like say what they want for their characters.
And Michael Easton has played like 12 different characters on the show. So why can't Becky play too?
Right. And like, so the fun would have been us seeing all of that and then having the reveal to us or to like everybody that this is like DID. And I wanted to see Cameron comforting his mother.
Yes.
This is Elizabeth's story. This is not a romance. This should not be something used to like further a romance. Cameron should have been comforting his mother because Cameron and Liz have been through hell together.
Yep.
That is who should have been comforting Elizabeth. I don't understand the writing here. I don't understand if we're supposed to be rooting for them as a couple. I'm certainly not. Because they did. So.
I dread actually what comes next for this story. It's just it's not looking good. I think it's going to be like very disempowering, and I think that's such a shame because the story was actually something that folks were like excited about and had a lot of buzz. And yeah, unless they turn it around drastically, I just don't. And like I've said that about a lot of their stories, and they have yet to turn things around drastically. So like I want you all to turn it around. I really do. But I'm increasingly questioning whether that is within y'all's range.
How about that? Yeah, I mean, it's also just like it continues to ignore history. We talk about this all the time. It's just like nobody is a fan of the show in the writer's room. There are like such small things that you could do to like throw the audience like something and remember history. Laura actually used the same medium who has proven that she's not like wrong. She was like the person who told her about Nicholas being alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't even come up to say, yeah, this does sound crazy, but this woman isn't always wrong because she knew about this one thing.
Well, the thing is that he did bring it up. Laura brought up, like it was referenced that Laura used her, but then they had Laura act as if she was, that it was even stranger because then they used Laura to reinforce Finn's gaslighting.
Yeah, that's why I felt it was so strange for her to call Chelsea a whack job. It's like, really? Like, didn't she help you back in the day?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
shall we
Yeah.
This is a little bit of it's a hot take, but glad to see that Taggart is no longer running. I was glad that love new Jordan, but glad that he went off on her the way he did. I was like, yes. And then I got pissed that he forgave her 5 seconds later. I was like, really?
Immediately.
I was like, that was wasted.
Those
And
weird.
wasted use of real Andrews, because I knew he was excited about the part that he was going to play in Trina's story, but apparently GH was using him, and I think that was horrible. Because he could have, he could be doing investigating.
Yeah, the problem is that if you use any of the people involved to the top of their ability, then this like plot folds like paper. It's just really bad. Even when Sam was like, well, this is a dead end, isn't it? Or should you have Spinelli hack into GH and see if Esme has any prescriptions? Just, and so like that's the problem, and that's like the unfortunate part of Real, is that if he's around, I thought we were gonna get him running a background check on Esme. I thought we were gonna get so much, and it's just he could have teamed up with Sam. Like that's the kind of thing that I think that we like to see as soap fans, like unlikely team ups. Like when they had Sean team up with Spinelli, we were like, what the hell is this? Like I would have loved to see Taggart and Sam work to take down Esme.
Yeah, it feels like they're just bringing him back for the paternity stuff, actually, and that's a shame because nobody actually really wants that. And I just thought those scenes, the beats were weird, and it wasn't the actors, it was the writing. Like I was like, why is like Portia being so nice to Jordan? Like I actually wanted her to keep some heat for her, and then it would make sense for her to kind of back off and be like, oh shit, Jordan knows, right? Like, but her defending Jordan to Taggart was weird, not letting Taggart actually be upset at Jordan. Like, let there actually be drama between these three. It makes sense that there would be, so let it happen. They can do it, and we would like to see it. Yeah. Why is Gregory?
What is Gregory?
Why is he? Why is he here? Why is this happening? Like, I guess they wanted to give Violet a break from carrying Finn on her back, but I also know that there's like, this is kind of getting into the previews, but like he's also going to be like having interactions with Alexis, and I'm like, cool. So we couldn't do harm Lexus, but we can do this. You think that this is what we want to see? Okay, I guess maybe Alexis fans want to see it, but I don't.
Is Gregory gonna take her to the Pride game? I don't think so.
Probably not.
So
if he does, I'm gonna fucking flip.
So they were doing a Finn and Alexis thing, so now she's gonna go after Dad instead.
No, I feel like that was just a friendship scene, but she has fucked Finn before. They were.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They were together. And so now she's gonna do the whole father-son thing. I guess it's a reverse. Since Finn had his wife, then he's going to.
Seems like a fair trade.
I love that. They love that parent-child partner swap.
Right.
It's why is Gregory? Why? I don't know what else to say, but why? Whatever reason Stella has for doing the things that she does, they're good ones. Team Stella. I'm not mad at her. She did what she needed to do. Leave her alone. Don't be mad at her. Shut up, Curtis. Team Stella forever.
Right. But she still, they still haven't done the whole they're not really divorced scene reveal. So
I still side with Stella forever.
because
she had a stroke. She meant to. She actually really didn't mean to send it off. She just forgot because she had a stroke. What's she supposed to do? Not have a stroke?
Avery liked the beer.
Avery liked the
Say
beer.
bye.
Stella had a stroke. Leave her alone. I defend Stella with my life. Treva is flawless. Trina and Ava forever. I would have loved a Trina, Avery, and Ava scene because Ava said, "Oh, I was gonna bring Avery, but she had her, dance performance or whatever." Or she was with her dad. But I was like, oh, I really actually now want the Avery, Ava, and Trina scene. That would be so sweet. And Portia there. Oh, they should be a family. Oh, Portia and Ava. That's my crack ship. No, that's my real ship. I want it. Trina's Title IX review. I don't want it. But I guess it's going to happen soon. I was very depressed about it. This is actually the story that I was dreading and anticipating when the sex tape, when it started to be clear where they were going with this. I was like, oh no, Trina in school because of the lower burden of proof. So I'm just dread. I really loved Leo's fixation on Chase. Like, I don't need any of these other things. I just need Chase. And then when he zeroed in and could only see Chase in the crowd, was that not the most relatable thing of the week? Everyone was like, yes, same, me. That's me when Chase is in scenes, especially in these dumbass storylines. So I liked that. What I did not like, Link, why is he back? Why is this the Cholin story? Why, it was so heartbreaking when Brooklyn was like, just when I I have my life on track, this happens. Like, I actually really, really felt for her in a way that I haven't in a long time. But this is not the way that I want. It's like, I felt for her because I was disgusted that this is the direction of the storyline. Like, why bring her abuser back? It's really not necessary. Like, Amanda's performance around it was great. The little zinger around oh, you survived the Me Too movement, huh? Those pieces were good, but I'm like, could you not have come? Well, first of all, can we actually put Chase and Brooklyn together before giving them another barrier? This was unnecessary. It was unnecessary to give them another barrier, first of all, but to make it Link, who is also just not a compelling villain either. He's just disgusting. We actually don't need any more of it. We're good. I loved Ava versus Esme.
that was my only other hot take. I was like, because it was interesting for me. I noticed the actual height difference, which before I never noticed it. But when they showed it this time, I noticed the height difference and I was still scared.
Yes.
Being someone on the taller side, I'm not necessarily always intimidated by someone smaller than me, but Ava scared the shit out of me. I was like,
yeah, that
was some scary stuff. And Ava, oh my God, more or less, always, but man, that was amazing.
She killed it.
Because we know that Ava will disappear that girl.
Yep. There would not be a trace of her left. Loved it. I loved it so much. I loved also how scared Esme looked. Like, she was like, oh shit. And I mean, some of that was for show for Nicholas to be like, oh, your wife is so scary. But also some of it was oh, if I felt the realness of it too, of oh shit.
This bitch will disappear me.
And there's a reason why your psycho ass daddy is obsessed with Ava.
Yep.
My last one is, okay, I hate Esme. Hate. Can't overstate that. But I am offended for Avery Pohl that they put her in that circus tent dress. Don't do that. If Nina gets to run around wearing like dresses, well, I didn't like her dress at the Savoy, but like in general, I love Nina's dresses. Now, it's okay if you want to put her in those prairie dresses, Esme. Like, I'm not going to complain about that because it's kind of funny. But that circus tent dress was not okay. No one should wear that dress.
The dress should not exist.
Boo, Esme, but Avery didn't deserve that. Avery did not deserve that.
I have free hot takes. Free TRINA. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of them sending TRINA through a redemption arc when my girl didn't need to be redeemed. I'm tired of witnessing TRINA's trauma. And like I'm tired. Like I don't know why anybody thought this was compelling. Just like literally throw everything at her at once. Then the paternity shit is like looming. So it's like whenever this is done, we know the paternity stuff is like happening. I did appreciate that Taviana was do like a Q&A on her Instagram stories, and she said, you know, like there's good fun stuff for TRINA coming up. So that gave me a little bit of hope, but in this shit now, I'm tired of it. And I think that that's also why I've had so much smoke for Spencer, because I think people are like impressed by him. I think that it was important for Sam to like say what she said, but I'm not. Like this is more about Spencer is more interested in being TRINA's hero than he is in TRINA's freedom. And even when he was talking to Portia and he was like, I've been to jail. Spencer, I taught you better than this. Don't be embarrassing me in front of people mamas. Okay? Don't do that. You spent 30 days in Spring Ridge and TRINA is facing years in Pentonville and being put out of school, her whole reputation ruined, and you gonna tell her mama that you've been to jail too? And did 30 days that you didn't even fully do? Spencer, I was so mad at him. And yeah, so it's been really hard for me, and I've actually had like a really hard time around Sprina because we actually haven't had like the light moments that make them so special. Like what makes for me Sprina so special is like obviously the chemistry. Tabiana and Nicholas have that in spades. There's no problem with their chemistry. They're amazing. They're such good actors. Every scene they've had has been great. But I also like the softness and the devotion that Spencer brings to TRINA for Sprina, and we have not had that because of the way the storyline is. I know it's been done because like we're gonna get this like love triangle and like they want to like make Marina more compelling, but I think they could make them compelling without all of this. I was actually hoping when we started the storyline that Sprina was gonna work to take down Esme together, and that the distance would be because they had to be apart to like trick Esme, not because like TRINA was in the dark and like had no agency in her freedom. That actually is not a story that we want to see. We wanted to see a story where TRINA actually was an active participant in her freedom. So that's, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Oh.
But if I can tack on to that,
Always.
someone just revealed or posted, do you remember who it was that posted the episode counts?
Oh, Emmy, I think.
Well, thank you. Just want to give people credit. But the episode counts, I was looking at them and like Nicholas and Avery were like at the top for the young people. And then I forgot what the exact count was, but they were at like 45, 44 for amount of episodes so far in 2022. And with Tabiana and Sydney's counts together, if we were to say like these are the Trina episode counts, it was 37, which is not in the grand scale of things bad, but what is troubling is that this is supposed to be Trina's story, and Avery and Nicholas as Spencer and Esme are on more than she is. And I feel like a big part of that is her not being in on any of the secrets having to do with her own story. So she doesn't get point of view beyond being scared for her, you know, for her future, and angry / conflicted at Spencer. So it's just like another way when we talk about also like diversity on the show, why like diversity itself is not enough. There are actually like really concrete metrics that you can set to say like, actually, let's look at the episode counts and how they match with the storylines, and who, like, let's look at point of view and storylines. It's more than just who's on cast. It's also like how you are using them and like what kind of agency do they have in their stories.
Right. So the person who posted is Emmy Crago. And so if you look at the episode counts, Maurice Bernard and Laura Wright are both at 66 for the year. Cynthia Watros is at 55. And then after that, it's Nicholas Chavez at 47. So but there's almost a 20 episode gap between Mo and Laura and Nicholas Chavez. Avery's right behind him at 45. And then, like you said, when you add Taviana and Sydney, they're at 37. Donnell is actually pretty high. He's at 44. So like a little bit behind. So Donnell and Cameron Matheson are at 44. And it's like, that's really interesting because Cameron Matheson hasn't really done shit. Like, what is Drew's story? Like, it, you know what I'm saying? And like, this is me as somebody who was like, can't wait for Crew to happen. P.S. We're going to see Crew in Sacramento. Tanya, I'll see you there. But yeah, it's like, he's not even doing anything. So what is that about? Jeannie Francis at 39. I certainly could do with more Jeannie Francis and less Carsona.
Yes.
And I think any of us could. And Rebecca Hart and Michael Easton are at 34. So that's like 30 plus episodes less than Carsona, when Becky actually has a story that people want to see. Like, the best thing that Carsona could have done was back burner.
Yep.
And instead, front burner. While like the things that people want to see are like in the back. It's just not good. I'm looking, and Finola is at 33. You want to see Anna? I can see Anna every day and wouldn't get tired of her. So, yeah. Anyway. Thank you, Emmy, for continuing to do that episode count for us, because it is a really valuable thing as we talk about like these stories. Ick. It's ick. I'm disgusted. And I'm actually also disgusted that Mark Willis like continues to promote it. I'm just like, this should be something, because we never see John Lindstrom like promoting Ryan and Esme's creepy shit. This is creepy, and it should be treated as such.
John Lindstrom is, you know, a grown-ass adult who also understands his role as like a mentor. And like when he talks about Avery, he's like, what a talented young person. You get like, she gives me hope for the future of our genre. Like, he says all the exact beautiful, supportive things that a man of his age should be saying about a young woman. I think it's very strange that the only coupling that I've seen Marcus Coloma promote has been Ick. That's really, and by strange
is kind.
Gross. It's gross. It's disgusting. You have been paired with Maura West since you basically entered the show. And I've barely, if seen any promotion of that coupling or shouting out of Mora in general. So I don't know what else to say besides ick. Gross. I would say do better, but I don't know that you can.
I don't think he's
Just
capable.
do less.
Can you imagine working with the Mora West and not shouting her out? One of the first things that we saw Tabiana Ali do is shout out Mora West.
Mm-hmm.
And said she's beautiful, she's perfect, she's the moment. So if a brand new person who gets a couple of scenes with Ava and Mora get to like do that, how do you, who has had Mora carry you on her fucking back, not do that?
You would not be able to get me to shut up about working with Mora West.
Never. I would never stop talking about it.
You would want me to stop talking about it because I would talk about it so much.
Selfies. I'd be like, me and Mora wants to go get coffee. I'm kicking it with Mora and her kids. Her husband is tired of me. Like, I would be with Mora West every fucking day. Are you kidding me? Anytime she would let me be with her, I'd be there.
I would clean her dressing room. Like I would, whatever, what do you need? What do you need, Mora? I got you. And she would be like, I need for you to leave me alone. You're creeping me out.
And then I'd be like, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'll do like an Instagram live about how I creep Mora West out and I'm so sorry about it. You know what I'm saying?
How I'm gonna hold myself publicly accountable. That's how much I love you.
Seriously. And Jeannie Francis is your fucking mom on the show?
What?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
If Jeannie Francis was my white mom on the show, I wouldn't stop talking about it. If I showed up and I'm like, I was an adopted Black baby of fucking Laura Collins. Like, hey y'all, me and Jeannie, me and TV mom. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I would never stop talking about it. It's crazy. And then the last thing is chillin'. We've been on quite a journey, have we not? Have we not? And there was something that switched for me when my trope has always been men who like the woman more. That's always been my trope. I cannot abide by any other trope. And so once Josh really got it in with those heart eyes at Brooklyn and Amanda, when Chase got it together, it was heart eyeing Brooklyn. I was like, oh, I'm here. I got it. I'm with you. I do not understand what is happening here. This is the story I want for them. I want a friends with benefits story. I want these two beautiful people to always be in bed. And like the hijinks they get up to is not, I kissed him and I don't know if he likes me. And we were talking about this, Sandra. I want for Chase to be like, I'm such a good, wholesome guy, and I've never slept with someone I wasn't in a relationship with. I don't know if she likes me. And I want Brooklyn to be like, this is really the way my relationships go. Yes. And I don't know if Chase likes me. And I want their hijinks and their weirdness to be about their sex life, not about the kiss that they exchanged. I do not understand the chastity, but I want it to stop. And just like Dante's shower has enough room for Sam, yes. Chase's shower has enough room for Brooklyn. Put these beautiful people in a bed. I don't even have to see, like, it is not that we're like warriors, like we gotta see sex. It's like, you can have it you can have it implied, right? Like we saw the scene between Martin and Lucy, right? Like so even if it is COVID or whatever, people don't feel comfortable, whatever it is, you can have implied sex scenes. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't have to see Milo. That should have been implied.
Yes, my God. Especially the foreplay over Wiley's toys. It's gross. I'm tired of it. It's every single time. Every single time. And so, it is that we are asking to have mature relationships and not like the shit that like the teenagers do. even like what's going on between Chalin is like too juvenile for even our juveniles.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not good. Let's move it along. I am now bought in. I think the couple has chemistry. I think they're cute together. I want to see hijinks. I want to see fun stuff between them. I understand that like a lot of the actors like to play the dramatic beats, but the dramatic beats come out better when they're in the midst of fun shit. It shouldn't always be tragic. And that's what it always is for all of these couples. It's always tragic for Brasha. It's always tragic for Chalin. It's fucking always tragic for Sprina. At least we got Vanna, where Anna is like, I checked my dad's card, bitch. Like, that's why we loved it. Because at least it wasn't tragic. Like, but everybody else is tragic. We hate it. Let people have some love in the afternoon or in the evening whenever you stream GH. And and like, let's move on. And from that, let's move on from this section. Sandra, tell us about what's happening in the week to come.
Oh. Well, next week is a week. And here it is.
Ooh.
So let's start with Wiley's adults. Dante on Monday, Dante expresses his misgivings about Sunny's decision. Carly doesn't react well to being confronted at yoga. So we're back at the yoga studio again. And
Who's
there's
confronting her. He's having not me, Nina.
I don't know. I forgot to watch the episode preview for Monday. So I don't really remember. I do remember there was someone else at the yoga studio, but to be honest, the beginning of the week does not interest me at all. So I did check out a little bit. Tuesday, Nina takes the stand as her visitation hearing begins, and Sunny takes a chance on an unlikely witness. Or not Sunny, sorry, Scott. I'm hoping it's Ava. That's my hope. But I guess it wouldn't be that unlikely because he would call her anyway. Who cares? Why am I speculating? Wednesday, things escalate in court as the visitation hearing continues. Thursday, testimony. Why did I say it like that? Testimony.
It's not exciting.
It's the only way I can make it interesting is the emphasis on random syllables in words. Testimony at the visitation hearing takes sharp turn as Michael testifies. And then finally, emotions run hot at the courthouse for the visitation hearing. Was that more exciting when I said it weirdly?
Emotions.
Very pure, honest of you. Sandra, I had no idea you could be so devious.
Yes. So, you know, it's going to be the visitation hearing all week. And I guess there will be an unlikely witness. There will be some escalation. And then there will be a sharp turn as Michael testifies. And then it will wrap up next week. I can tell you that much. The visitation hearing will come to a close next week. So not this week. This week will just be in visitation hearing hell. There will be a little bit of like Britt and Brad. And then so at the beginning of the week, they're going to have a scene. She's going to be talking to him about whether or not he likes his working situation, I think with Auntie Selena. And then we'll see them again at the end of the week. They're going to be with Drew, BLQ, and Chase, as well as others. I think Spinelli is also in the mix there, and possibly Maxie, based on the spoilers for next week. But they're all going to be at the MetroCorp pool, which is opening back up. Very exciting. For a society setups event. So that's the matchmaking service that Britt's been using that we suspect that Spinelli has something to do with. So that will be happening. I'm actually kind of excited for that, just because I'm like, oh, lots of people who you don't normally see together, like young-ish, attractive people mixing up at one of my favorite sets. So that's cool. There's also going to be a little cherry situation on Thursday. Unfortunately, Amy will also be in the mix. So I guess this will be like the first time we see like kind of like the three of them interacting. So Amy's
tomato.
A ruiner. She's gonna be eavesdropping as a preoccupied Chet has news for Terry. Okay.
Your life, loser.
Alexis and Gregory are going to spar over the invader. There was a little Nancy Lee Grahn interview about this in Soap Opera Digest. I didn't read it, to be honest, because I didn't read Soap Opera Digest this week because Steve was on the cover, and fuck him forever. But I'm really not excited about this. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm still very bitter about being queer baited about Harm Alexis. Like, hello? You had Alexis interested in women's basketball and the team name is the Pride, and she was talking to Harmony about that, and you're gonna say that I wasn't being queer baited. I was. So I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in seeing Alexis get into another dysfunctional relationship with someone who she shouldn't be with. Anyway, whatever. We'll also see, so we'll have a little bit about Elizabeth at the beginning of the week. So we'll see a continuation from the reveal. So Elizabeth gets closer to learning the truth about the disturbances on Monday. And then Tuesday, Laura, Finn, Kevin, and Cameron advocate for Elizabeth. I'm not looking forward to that. Finally, let's talk about our kids. We won't see them. Well, I mean, we'll see Cameron on Tuesday. And yes, I'm saying Cameron is one of my kids. We've been on a journey. And now I'm like, oh my God, poor Cameron.
He's my child's cousin.
He's my child's cousin, which makes him family.
Family. I mean, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I feel like I'm at a visitation hearing like Nina with my kids.
Yes. I'm like, okay, but I need to see them more than just like a couple scenes a week. So anyway, their story is going to be picking back up on Wednesday. We'll have Jocelyn consoling Cameron. They'll be interrupted. I'm assuming she's consoling him because the day before he'll be dealing with Liz stuff. So I'm looking forward to that scene because we don't often get to see Jocelyn supporting Cameron. It's usually the other way around. And I think lately it's made a lot of sense why it's that way, but this would be a nice change. Rory seeks out Trina at the gallery. Rory.
Call me Rory if you need to call me.
And then also another, Ava and Victor try to charm each other.
Victor's back.
Victor will be back and we will be getting Viva.
Viva Rising.
It better be.
Right.
I'm tired of this shit.
Yes.
I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of them not rising. So this spoiler, I actually don't remember which day it falls on. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday, so I'm going to say it now. Spencer tells Esme about the new terms of his trust. So we'll be getting a follow-up on the conversation that he and Ava had where she was like, you can have $10,000 a week. Excuse me, what? You could have $10,000 a week if you would Esme move out of Windermere and you stay out.
Can I just get $10,000 once?
I'm like,
right.
$1,000 a
A
week.
week?
A week.
You know, Spencer, I've been helping you out a lot this last year. Can you send some of that my way? Like, what about me?
What about me?
What about me? I can use
What about Auntie?
I can use a little allowance. That's what I'm saying. After all the restless nights being your parent, god damn it. Anyway, so
Ava, I will take Esme out for one time $10,000 out.
Spencer, let us help you.
Right.
Help us help you. Give us money, please. Thursday, Nicholas, when Nicholas approaches Ava, Victor stays to chaperone. Thank you. So more Viva. And then Spencer sees Trina and Rory together.
It's a good week to be a Trina FF.
It is. It's a great week to be a Trina FF. It's a great week to be a Trina multi-shipper. And I mean that really sincerely. I sincerely just enjoy all of this playing out. Nothing else to say. Love it. And then Ava and on Friday, Ava and Laura talk over target practice. So I think we're gonna get Ava and Laura axe throwing scene. Love it. Ava needs to hold on to those axes though, because also Esme will be finding a drunk and vulnerable Nicholas on Friday. And I will say, without going into the details of next week, there's gonna be a lot of ick coming up. That's what I'll say. So brace yourselves. And that's our week.
I just want to palate cleanse and talk about Sabrina for a second, because we can't end on ick. Ugh. No, thank you. I am really excited because I think that Tatiana and Nicholas have amazing chemistry. I am really excited to see the Kim after jealous Spencer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, he turns it up when he gets jealous.
Yep.
Yes.
So that jealous Spencer Kim, jealous Sabrina Kim is gonna be. And I am just like really excited for Trina to like be in a love triangle. I think that like that is what cements someone like, you know, we know that triangles are like the trope that like cements you as like that girl. And so I really hope that we get like soap opera digest covers with them. I hope that we get interviews with them. Like I really hope that GH plays this up. Because Trina's beloved, Spencer's a Cassadine, and Rory's cute as hell. So I think that this could be something, and I really, really do hope that it gets marketed as something.
Yeah.
Because this is I feel like this is a triangle that if they do it right can like bring viewers in because everybody's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're extremely beautiful, all three of them.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful separately, all beautiful together. Like
Great.
these kinds of love triangles are also like, of course, there's so many, like when you're a fan of a character, or you're a fan of the show, like there are just some storylines that are going to stick with you no matter what, that aren't necessarily the romance storylines. And the romance storylines are really kind of like what cements what it's like, those are big parts of people's legacy. Like those are the things that people go back and watch, like the big love triangles. And so I think it's really important for Trina's character. And I also just like notice like all of our faces when I was talking about the spoilers for the triangle. Like we were all just like, oh, I can't stop smiling. You know, like it's that should be like at least 60% of your reaction while watching a soap opera, you know, of like, you like excitement, joy. And like, yes, there should be like tears and there should be tragedy and drama and like all of that, but there should be like a pretty significant chunk of you being like, oh my God, this is so amazing. So please just like more of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna say thank you as if you're going to be doing it. That's my favorite thing to do.
And that's that on that. Do we have anything else before we close out this very special episode? I don't know what's very special, but it's very special to me.
You know, just free TRINA.
Free TRINA.
Free TRINA.
Free TRINA. And happy birthday, Kelly Monica.
Happy birthday, Kelly. And I hope everything gets better.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Oh, and may the force be with y'all. Obi-Wan premieres on Friday.
I'm sure we'll find some parallels to GH and Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
Challenge accepted.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to take good notes, compare and contrast.
I know you will. I never had a doubt in my mind.
All right, y'all.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.